Hey guys, I finally got glasses where you can see my eyes because they're not super reflective. Don't ever cheap out and not get the anti-reflective coating if you do things like this. Not something I ever thought about, but yeah, here we are. They also don't take up like half my face, so I'm thrilled. Anyway, always joined by a cat. I it's funny because tonight I was thinking I need to film, but I'm not gonna. And then as I was sitting here thinking about things 'cause I'm an Aquarius and that's what we do. I was I was like, you know what? I'm screwed. I'm gonna film because I have something I really want to talk about, something that's been really prevalent in my life lately, regardless of whether I want it to be or not. Here we are. And you probably have seen me talking about it on Instagram if you do follow me on there. But I really want to talk about shadow work. I'm not entirely sure where this video is going to go or the conversation. I do want to bring tarot into it and kind of how I have come to. I don't know where to put my arm because she's like right here where I usually put my arm. There, you can just right. Um, but tarot is a really big part of how I explore shadow work, and so I guess I will just start there. I'm not really going to get into what shadow work essentially is in this video because there's other things I really want to cover, but it is a rather prevalent part of my practice, and lately it has become even more so. Got to be a cat about it. We don't know if we want to stay or go or what's happening in our lives. Really? No, by all means. She is getting old. She's not very graceful. And she's horribly distracting, but beautiful. And she, yes, pretty. Okay, we get that now. Anyway, so I guess I'll just start with the connection that I have with shadow work and tarot specifically, and hopefully now I have a better place to rest my arm. I, as you guys probably noticed, tend to like talk with my hands when I get really passionate or emotional about something. Anyway, so tarot, I came to tarot not really ever thinking that I could use it to predict the future, although that does tend to sometimes have a presence in my readings. That's not always usually the bulk of my readings or the meat and potatoes of my readings, as one would say. It's I came to tarot. Basically, my tarot origin story in a complete nutshell is that I essentially um, found my first tarot deck in a bookstore when I was still dating my high school sweetheart. And then when we broke up, I went and ordered it. And I was hoping that it would bring me some guidance, some direction to go because I was still very young and I was out of high school, and pretty much every vision that I had for the future had essentially changed. But really, I was looking more through the lens of what do I need to change within myself now, only focusing on me because I didn't have another person to worry about anymore when it came to the course of my future or what I truly wanted from it. So, I always kind of came to tarot when I couldn't make sense of my headspace. And having anxiety and depression, there's a lot of headspace. And I also just have that type of personality where I'm constantly thinking and I'm constantly examining things and I'm very introspective. It's just always been something that I've always been an innate part of my personality, hence why I journal a lot, I write a lot. Um, I just have a lot going on in here. And you'd think that being a mother, there's always a cat hair. You would think that being a mother, that would start to like cloud my head a little bit, and in some respects it does, but not like this. So that's essentially tarot has always been deeply psychological and psychospiritual for me. And my spiritual path has always been a way to explore the connection that I have with the divine, but also within myself, and to better myself and empower myself. And I don't think that that can be truly done or truly practiced without shadow work. It just, the way that I see it, it just isn't possible without shadow work. And obviously, shadow work can be done in many different ways. And I'm not telling anybody how to practice their path or how to even see their path. Really, I'm just really speaking to my own experiences. So, take that at face value. Please understand, I'm not trying to tell you how you should practice your spirituality. I'm just basically trying to convey the importance of shadow work in my path, and how I look at myself with. I just don't think that I would be able to proceed in the way that I hope without pursuing shadow work. And as I went through my 20s, had so much to expand upon and so much to understand and to learn and to gain wisdom from. Many mistakes and many personal work, a lot of personal work that I had to evolve through, and I will continue to do so because doing your personal work, doing shadow work, and doing self empowerment and self love, those are a practice that you don't just wake up one day and you are flawless. We are all flawed, and that's just not how this works. But I look at shadow work as a pillar or a foundation to my spiritual practice because I essentially found tarot through trying to understand myself and trying to understand, um, my own traumas, essentially. But I also found my spiritual path as a practicing pagan and as a witch through that same lens. My becoming a pagan and a witch, that all came a few years before stepping into the world of tarot. And my path as a practicing pagan and a witch came at the same time that I really came head to head with depression, which was something that I couldn't fully understand because it was never fully explained to me. And as I got older, I started to seek out help and guidance in a spiritual way that I saw fit. And that continued to sort of build upon itself to the point of me now understanding what my depression was and trying to not necessarily heal from it, but just accept it as it is and learn to live while understanding that this is probably something I'm going to feel for the rest of my life. And I've had many people essentially tell me that they thought that that was ridiculous, that they thought that there was that eventually one day I would just get better. And I don't believe that. I honestly believe that my depression is seriously a imbalance in me. And um, obviously there are many different types of depression, but this is how I look at mine. And since it has been 20 years and I still experience depression in the same, as essentially the same way that I always have, it's it just is to me. And I've gone through many transformations since then. Gone through many spiritual developments and personal developments, but all of those, shadow work has preceded it. And it's all been me looking at the things that I have done or the things that I hope to change or the things that I hope to better understand about myself. And I really didn't fully hit true deep spiritual awakening or transformation until about 28. And then I had another one at 32. And since then, it's just been a continuous flux and flow of this self transformation in a lot of ways. But so much of it has been pulled, like I said, from shadow work. So much of it has been me thinking, okay, I'm trying to do this thing and it's not working. So now we need to find another way to make this work because I can't keep doing the same thing and expecting it to work. So, and now I will say that the other thing that was really deeply helpful for me understanding my depression, my anxiety, and other aspects of my mental illness was talk therapy. I'm gonna help her down because she's an old lady. There you go, sweetheart. Now I will say that I understand that therapy is not for everybody, and that sometimes that can be difficult for various reasons. I have foot cramp, um, um, you know, insurance, money, available. There's a lot of aspects for reasons why people maybe would have a difficult seeking therapy, but I will sing praises to my personal journey with talk therapy and how much it has helped me. But I'm telling you right now that as I had proceeded into talk therapy, I basically had to do really the nitty gritty of shadow work. I pretty much had to lay the darker aspects of myself out in the open, which is not particularly something I'm fond of, and it's not particularly something that anybody is fond of. But it also brought about so many things that I just simply wasn't seeing because I was sugarcoating them, whitewashing them, and that to me was astonishing for my personality. I said, "Oh, look, I'm so used to experiencing depression and anxiety that I could face this and not pretend like everything is fine." And when I was describing the things that stumped me about my mental illness to my therapist, she looked at me and said, "You have PTSD." And that floored me. That floored me because I sat here and spent all this time looking at my trauma and thinking, there's no way I could have possibly experienced something so severe when everyone around me has it so much worse than me. But trauma, first of all, is based on the individual and the experiences. There's so many factors. It's not black and white, and neither, coincidentally, is shadow work. Shadow work is not black and white. And I think that when we are ready to face our traumas and face our shadows, you can never really completely get over things that I think really imprint on you on a very deep way. Just as when we lose someone we love, we don't ever get over their death. I am not over losing the people that I love, and that just doesn't happen. But we get to a point where we look at them, look at our grief or our loss or our shadows or our pain or our trauma, and we think, we look at it from a different perspective. We start to understand the the true gift that shadow work can provide. Um, that it can really put us in a different perspective, which is something that tarot has always helped me with. It's helped me see a different perspective. But I did not understand or see that I was also doing the thing that I truly judged others for, which was I was sugarcoating my own trauma and my own shadows and completely ignoring the things that I needed to face until I finally, honestly, just jumped off the ledge and was jumped right into this dark pool of water, and I came up and I was able to breathe. And it's it's difficult and it's still a struggle, and I will continue to be doing shadow work. But lately, especially over the last few weeks, there has been a lot of signs of it in synchronicities and in my practice, and I've just been really wanting to talk about on my channel and talk about my experiences with it and talk about my journey with it and how I find it deeply important. And I'm not going to say that I'm perfect. I'm not going to say that I'm above any of it, of course, because I'm still doing shadow work and I'm still trying to look at the things that I do and look inward and dissect my intentions behind my actions and behind my thoughts. I'm trying to be less reactive to things that happen to me, even though I can be a very sensitive person. But not every action needs a reaction. And sometimes, if you have to sit with your feelings and your thoughts, it can do you a whole lot of good. And that right there in itself is shadow work. Learning not to be so reactive, learning to take the time to really examine how you truly feel about something. And if something's poking at your shadow, sit with it and think, why? Why is this bothering me? I need to understand this. That right there, being able to get into that practice really helped me examine myself. And um, I think it helped me for the better to the point where I started to notice a change when other people around me started to notice a change. And I started to notice a change as well when I would pause for a moment and when I would try to hold myself accountable for my own actions, or when I would see or experience something that would basically ignite the trauma flame. And I would take a moment to just be like, why is that happening? What is happening? Naturally, in my own personal experience, taking these situations and bringing them to talk therapy did help because I was able to dissect them with a professional. But that is also something that you can do yourselves. So I'm not gonna, again, this video is not really gonna be about how to watch shadow work or what shadow work is. I can certainly make a video on that or be more specific on how I practice it, but I just really kind of wanted to talk and ramble about my experiences about it and my journey with it and just how deeply prevalent and important it is in my practice and how I myself have been ignoring my shadows. And once I started to understand them, then I started to blossom a little bit more into the person that I hope to be. And yeah, it's still a process. I'm working on it, but I'm here doing it. I'm doing the work. I'm showing up, and I'm proud of myself for that. So yeah, that's basically my ramble on shadow work. And I hope you guys enjoyed watching. As always, blessed be.